again, it's the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup for junior women quadruple sculls. Bedford Modern School on the left and Shiplake College, the holders, on the right.
Attention! Go!
This is going to be about experience in that Shiplake crew versus youth in the crew from Bedford Modern, much like the last race we have just seen on the course. Shiplake, as you said, holders of this event, and they have gone out there looking like they have something to prove. Yeah,
at stroke and 3, there we've got, but look at this actually, on the left of the picture, we've already got some quite serious steering. They've got to get back on track before they hit the booms. It looks like they've managed to avoid that. Well spotted there, but that's given Shiplake quite an advantage, quite a serious steering error to recover from.
Yeah, and Bedford Modern had a pretty tough race in their first round as well. They were pushed all the way to the line by a crew from Rob Roy, and they're young. There's 2 J16s in that crew as well. Whereas Shiplake, by comparison, they won the Schools Head, silver at National Schools, they won the junior quads at Henley Women's, and on top of that, Mia Vickerman and Meredith Oakes are holders of this event from last year's Henley Royal Regatta.
So the Shiplake crew that won last year with 2 of these girls on board was one of my standout crews, and here's we take a look at them. The reason you can say that, I think, is just the synchronicity of such a young crew to be so technically effective and efficient in sculling. Looking at the back of these 4 Shiplake girls, we've got Mia Vickerman sitting at bow, Jessica Weir at 2 in front of her, Scarlett Mallam at 3, and at stroke Meredith Oakes. And they've just got something, haven't they? The way they move the boat, the fluidity of the movement.
Yeah, these women from Shiplake, they just have a really great style, a good synchronicity. They've got that slightly languid, sort of sleek rhythm that just means that they look really relaxed.
Yeah, and as we pull out, you can see that we've moved live down the course now, and they've opened up the considerable gap, and they're able to scull with really nice control. So it's a good display of technical rowing in a position of comfort as they can look back with some confidence and see behind the Bedford Modern School, you know, maybe suffering a little bit after that tough race yesterday. Here's Bedford Modern. You can see a much higher stroke rate there. Probably a little bit more tired, perhaps a little bit shorter than the more experienced Shiplake crew in front of them.
Yeah, and I think this Bedford Modern crew is one to keep an eye on. They really talked in the run-up to this regatta that they were improving week on week all throughout the season. You know, every single session they were moving on, they were getting better, they were building towards this regatta. But like we said, a young crew who I'm sure will be back here in years to come.
Some of the most exciting races in the regatta we see in the Diamond Jubilee Challenge Cup, which is the junior women quad sculls, because they're quite often very, very well matched. But Shiplake, I think last year and again this year, looked to have a crew that got a bit of a technical edge. Obviously they have the fitness and the finesse, and so it'll be great to see how they progress through the competition.
Yeah, and let's not forget that experience of winning here before, and that's not only in 2 competitors, but it's this sort of institutional experience. You know, they know how to perform, they know how to produce a winning crew, they know how to write a program which is going to put them in a great position for this race at Henley Regatta.
Absolutely right, Zoe. And you know, just looking at you in your Oxford blazer, I'm sitting here in my Cambridge blazer, you know, we know a bit about rivalries across clubs, and what you tend to have is sort of a system that gets built that gives confidence to the athletes in the system, and then you know, you get a string of victories from one side to the other. The boat race has gone that way for, you know, decades and decades and decades, and I think you see the same in club rowing as well. A club comes up, builds a great system, and we see some of those clubs here, and Shiplake is now one of those.
Yeah, ultimately I think success begets success, doesn't it? So once you've got that momentum, it's difficult to hold it, and you can see this crew from Shiplake, again, they just look more relaxed now. They're able to take the rate down, and I guess that's the nice thing about rowing, is that as a rower, when you are in the lead, you can see your opposition, so you can respond to them easily. You can see when they're making a move, and I'm sure this Bedford crew is going to stop at nothing to keep throwing punches at Shiplake, but Shiplake at the moment with a pretty commanding lead.
Yeah, absolutely right, and you can see Lily Britton at bow in the Bedford Modern School just takes a glance over her shoulder, because one of the things they don't have in a quad is the advantage of a cox, and if you had a cox at this point, the Bedford Modern crew would have somebody keeping them calm, giving them the faith that they had the chance to get back on terms. And as it is, it's left to Lily at bow to look over her shoulder and take a sort of peek as how far away are the other crew. Well, that's Shiplake looking very good. actually practicing their technique as they come past the enclosures. You can see an early square on the oars. You see that how the oar is feathered and flat and then squares up ready to enter. They're just practicing a little bit of a technical exercise there to be ready for tomorrow. Nice display of very well-timed rowing from the young women from Shiplake. Shiplake cross the line, they're easily the oars and drop them in synchronisation as Bedford Modern. Well, the last few moments for them, 4 or 5 strokes from the finish line, all credit to them. What a great first Henley campaign for these young women too. So that is the result, Shiplake College in the Diamond Jubilee beating Bedford Modern School.